Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Snake 500, another 7 Days to Die video. And again, it's kind of being the last of our series of how things work, I guess is the way to put it. And we've talked about the light armor. We talked about the medium armor. We talked about the heavy armor. We talked about the mods that go into the armor and what works with what and how it works and what it does, etc., etc., etc. But you notice we've got one more box over here that we haven't talked about yet. And these are my favorite individual books in 7 Days to Die. This is not my favorite series. We'll talk about that a little bit too. This is not some of the decisions that you make early in game make one set of books better than another. Universally, however, these are my favorite books. So let's pick them up and start talking about them. The very first book that we're going to talk about, Art of Mining Level 5. Craft basic resources like ore, stone, and wood into more compact stacks that are easier to carry. Turn 6,000 wood, 6,000 iron, 6,000 lead into one stack that you can then stack on top of themselves, so you're saving inventory space and storage space. Huge fan of this book. The second book we're going to talk about is Automatic Weapons Handbook, Volume 4. Craft drum magazine mods for automatic weapons and turrets. Are you using an AK? Are you using the M60? Are you using a pipe machine gun? All of these can use the drum machine gun, the drum mag, carrying more bullets when you're running around and shooting things, less reloading. Big, huge fan. Even just making them. Even if I can't use them, I'd rather have them than not. The next book we're going to talk about is Magnum Enforcer Volume 4. This is the better bartering with a 44 mag gun drawn gives you a 5% better deal. I always act like I have this book even if I haven't read this book because I don't pay attention to the books I'm reading. But this is the reason I do that, because anytime I can get a 5% better deal just by reading a book, it's what I'm going to do. Now, we're going to kind of talk about this a little bit if you're talking about individual skills. But if you're doing stealth, all of the Night Stalker books are good. All of them are beneficial. But we're talking about two specific books independent of my playthrough. And that would be Night Stalker Volume 4 and Night Stalker Volume 5. Night Stalker Volume 4, never encumbered between 10 p.m. at night and 4 a.m. in the morning. Are you cleaning out a big POI and it's 2 o'clock in the morning? You're unencumbered so you can get back easier until the trader opens up. So huge fan of this book. Then the other one, Bows, that's not the one I thought it was. Okay. Doing 10% more damage. All of the 10% damage at night is nice. Oh, actually, I take that back. This I found when I was coming this way. That's why that book is over here. So I'm going to put that over there. Not one of my favorite books. However, it is a good book to find if you're using bows. Again, all of those at night are very, very nice. The next one we're talking about is the Ranger Guide. Now, if you'll notice, I always carry a bow. Even if I'm not putting points into it, I've always got a bow in my final piece and carry those arrows. And if you get Ranger Guide to Archery Volume 4, learn how to craft steel arrows and bolts, which is the best bolt in the game. I mean, best arrow in the game. Flaming or whatever. This lets you make the generic ones, which is the one I usually always carry. Big, huge fan of being able to make those no matter when. All right, the next book we're going to talk about is in the Great Heist series, and is the Great Heist Volume 6. Use no stamina while sprinting. So if you're like this and you sprint, you're not using stamina. As opposed to me right now, where I am. So if you're doing a stealth build, if you're just trying to be sneaky at night and walk faster, huge, huge fan. Now, you'll see I've got 3 in the next book series, and that's the Urban Combat. Each one of these has its own benefit universally across the game. In fact, all of this series is a really good series, but I narrowed it down to just these books that are my favorite no matter what I'm playing. If you read Urban Combat Volume 3, when you sneak over trash, it makes no sound. Clearing out POI and walking into a door, you don't know what's behind it. Crouch down and you don't make noise. initially. Now, that doesn't help you get to trigger points and anything else, but you're not making noise. I'll take that one an idea. After you read volume 4, when sneaking, you always land silently unless you're taking damage and jump height is not reduced. So, when you're sneaking, after reading that book, right now, I can't jump on top of these blocks. Read that book, and then I can get up to here. I could show you, but I haven't actually found that in this playthrough, and I kind of want to save it for that. The next book we're going to talk about is Urban Combat Level 5. Quite possibly the one that's going to save your life the most. Landmines won't detonate when you step on them. How many, if you've never stepped on a landmine and died and lost a playthrough that was permadeath, you know how valuable this book is. I mean, seriously, it is a phenomenal book. Huge, huge fan of reading that book. It might be the best book in the game. In fact, I probably don't want to go to the the wasteland without reading that book because of how well some of those landmines are hidden. Now we're going to talk about Wasteland Treasures Volume 1. This is the honey book. You know how you've got to find tree stumps to find honey early game? Read this book. It's in any tree. So when you're just doing logs for building stuff, if you just need to make blocks, you can get an opportunity to get honey. The last book we're going to talk about is the Acid book, which is Wasteland Treasures Volume 3. Acid is one of those things in the game that is so hard to come by. It goes up there with springs. It feels like something you should be able to make. But it goes into if you're making batteries or if there's a couple other things that you need acid for. Adding a chance to harvest acid from cars, medical equipment, and acid barrels. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because of how hard it is to find. And all of those books, read any of them anytime you get a chance, obviously. And any book that you find when you're playing 7 Days to Die is a good book to read, even if it's not something you're doing, because it may change what you're doing. You read a book that you're like, hey, this is really cool. Now, that covers the books. All of those are good books to read. Let's talk about something a little better than just a book. And that is completing book series. Now, some of these are really cool benefits. Some of them, they're okay. They're not terrible. Not only do you get all of the things in here if you read individual books, but if you read all 7 books for the Art of Mining, you gain a 20% more ore mining. That's less time you have to mine. Pretty good book. If you read all of the Automatic Weapons handbooks, each kill boosts your run speed by 20% for 20 seconds. If you're using run and gun tactics like on Horde Night, if you're not using a Horde base, that's a pretty good set to get into and protect yourself with. Now, my favorite completion bonus in the game is in the Batter Up set. Not only do you get all these bonuses, power attacks that kill your enemy refill your stamina meter. Oh, big, huge fan. No matter what. Maybe I'm low on stamina, have enough to do a power attack and kill somebody with a power attack. Yeah, I'll take a free refill bar anytime I can get one. Brawling book, the 7th curse. Unleash your inner chi with this ancient martial arts technique. The 7th unarmed strike landed in a short time does 300% damage. If you're using Brawler, if you're using the gloves, if you're using any of those versions, this is a great set of books to read. The Fireman's Almanac. This is a lot of farming, wood cutting stuff that goes with it and catching on fire stuff, oddly enough. If you get the whole set, though, sprint longer and never encumbered in the burnt forest or in the wasteland. So that goes into the never being encumbered at night and then never being encumbered in those 2 areas. Not a terrible set to complete. Individual books there, they're hit and miss for me. The Great Heist. Complete all of it. And again, pretty good set overall. Find 20% more lockpicks in loot. Break into locks 20% faster and have a 10% lower chance to break your lockpick. I'm going to read that again because I don't know if you heard me at all. 20% more lockpicks in loot, so you gain more of them. Break into locks 20% faster, so you're not using as many lockpicks, and have a 10% lower chance of breaking your lockpick, so they last longer. Pretty cool set to finish out. The Hunter's Journal. This is do 10% more damage to all the animals in the game. Get them all. Harvest more bones, meat, and leather from animals. Pretty cool if you're using that for hunting. Lucky Looter. All of these books are good. Get them all. Enemies have a higher chance to drop a loot bag. Who doesn't want to get a loot bag when you're doing things? Magnum Enforcer. All shots with a 44 Magnum penetrate enemies, and you can bulk craft ammo. Instead of just making 150 rounds for a stack, you can put them in a box, which I believe carries 100, but you can put 5 boxes into one stack, so you've got 500 bullets in one little stack, so you're using less inventory space with all of that. Night Stalker books, all of these are good, especially if you're doing a stealth run. Overall, though, finish them all. Sneak attacks with knives at night deal an extra 200% extra damage. This goes on top of any bonus you get with the knife and any mods that go onto the knife that you're stabbing with. Pistol Pete. If you're using pistols, all of these are good, whether it be crafting AP ammunition, inflict more damage, etc., etc. Shots fired at point-blank range ignore armor. And you can craft 9mm ammunition in bulk. Again, those boxes. Save storage space. By the way, also uses less resources. So it comes in handy when you're making armor. The Ranger's Guide to Archery. If you're going to be using a bow, all of these books are good. At the end of it, you get them all. You can bulk craft arrows and bolts. Again, saves resources, saves storage space. Pretty nice book overall to get. Now we get to my least favorite. I like doing POIs as the developers intended. I hate busting out walls. I hate going through cheating spots. But if you get all the stealth books, all the shotgun books, excuse me, you can one-shot most wood blocks with your shotgun. You can also craft all shotgun ammo in bulk. So all of that comes in handy at that point. So it's not a terrible book if you're using shotguns. I just hate blowing up buildings with my weapon. A sniper set. This is a really good one to get. And you can bulk craft all 7.62 ammo when you complete the set. So if you're using snipers or using an M60 or an AK or a pipe machine gun or a lever action or any of those, anything uses 7.62, that's a good set to finish. The next set is the Spear Hunter. If you're using spears, this is a great one. Kills with a spear refill your stamina, much like the melee damage one for the club that we talked about, for the baseball bat one that we talked about earlier. Urban Combat. This is another great set to finish if you're trying to be sneaky, because silencers have no damage penalty. You lose damage with a silencer if you put it on a weapon without this mod, without this book series being completed. Complete the series, you don't lose the damage. You actually gain some damage because of the way mods work in this game. And, then you're quiet and doing damage, which is fun. The Tech Junkie, complete all of those books. And again, I'm not a huge fan of these books overall. I don't do a lot of I don't build a lot of robots other than the drone. But craft all robotic turret ammo, which is a pretty good way to make money in this game. If you're just making ammo, then you can make it in bulk, so you're using less materials and you can sell it for more. Then the Wasteland Treasures. All of these are good books. All of them help you find things. All of them make your life easier. You can find more legendary parts, the things you need to make the Tier 6 equipment, which is what we need. If you get the complete series of the Wasteland, you get more opportunities to find those. So I hope the book conversation was helpful to you, that you think about some things. Maybe you understand how they work a little bit better. If you've got an opinion about one of those books, maybe I missed your favorite book, let me know. Leave it in the comments section below. Stick 500, 7 Days to Die. I'll see you in the next one.